too, man. Did you check out the 70? Well, we'll talk about that. We'll save that for the show.
We'll talk about that, and I'm ready. I'm recording. You want to do it?
Yeah, man. I'm here. It's been too long.
All right, it's the Game Dev Breakdown Podcast. My name's Todd Mitchell. There on the screen is John Schreiber. How you doing, buddy?
I'm a little tired. It's been kind of a gray couple of days, but, we're making do. The baby was a little bit sick this weekend, so there was some lost sleep also, but I don't know. She's doing okay.
Yeah, all this weather has been just depressing. I had to go out to do some shopping. I'm celebrating a new shirt size. I'm up to a 2XL. So
that's not what I expected to hear you say.
No, I was sick of my shirts shrinking in the laundry. It's a dumb side story, but yeah, I went out in the rain and it's a bummer. And you go to stores and you're getting wet on the way in. Everything's the worst. Everything's just awful.
It was raining pretty hard here. Was it over there?
Yeah, it's done nothing but rain. I think it's probably still raining now.
And it's 50 degrees?
Yeah, 50-ish, yeah.
It's maybe even colder now.
Yeah, and it's going to get worse, yeah, for sure. So
let's talk about something pleasant instead.
On that happy note, I'm so glad we're recording again. I promised everyone that's what we would do. People jumped out of the woodwork right away when we put out a new show, season 2 opener. Like everybody rallied behind that. Great feeling. We immediately got that 5-star rating on iTunes. Like I didn't expect that. Good things are happening. So
that's exciting.
Yeah, it's super cool. Everybody's been great, and as according to plan, I'm going to be doing probably a lot of solo stuff, a lot of technical stuff on Mondays, beginning of the week, and Thursdays are our time to get together, talk about what we're playing, talk about what's in the news, hang out a little bit.
Cool. I'm into that. Yeah, finally playing something other than Overwatch, so that's going to be exciting.
Have you seen the new character?
Yes. What is it? Ash.
Ash, I think is the right, yeah.
With the kind of like the Winchester style rifle.
Right.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm disappointed about that is that the ultimate for that character, the giant Omnic mech, is just. I wish that was a playable character. That's the only qualm I have with that design. I was like, oh, that was kind of a missed opportunity. He looks pretty cool. Bob, I think it's called Big Omnic Bot or something.
Bastard, yeah.
Something like that.
I literally saw like 3 seconds of intro video and I was like, I don't care about this. Just man, I've still got friends who play it like every single day and I am just I'm not that into it anymore. Like I like Overwatch. I like what they did with it. I'm not that interested in playing it every day or trying to prove that my crew is the best or anything like that. We're not. So
I know how that goes too. Like I was talking to you about a little bit earlier. Yeah, I'm kind of in a weird flux of that game. I mean, I can respect some of their design decisions, but it seems like, the lower skill heroes are being rewarded. And so it doesn't really give you an incentive to try to succeed as a player, to play any of the more mechanically demanding heroes. And so I don't know. It's just, I think it's pushing away. If they want to have a competitive esport kind of a game, I think it's pushing away the players that they don't and shouldn't be pushing away.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
it's kind of in a weird flux right now. I think honestly, I don't know. What do you think from a design perspective? Would you continue to add heroes to keep that hype train going, or would you try to sit back and balance it? Like if we had to pretend that was our game. Because that's what I was thinking about earlier this week, late last week, because it is only Monday. But like what I wonder what I would do. Would I stop adding heroes, balance the game better, or keep balancing here and there, and still keep the fresh new content?
Right. It's a fair question. I return back to it every once in a while, and now every time I come back, there's 2, 3, 4 new heroes. I get why they're doing it, because it's at an age now where it wants to sort of simmer. Like a game like that is sort of like it would sort of just settle in and people would start to cool down on it a little bit. I get why they want to reintroduce new characters and all this stuff. I don't know that it always has the impact they want. I think sometimes you come back and there's new people and you don't want to go back to that training mode, and you also don't want to jump into competitive, try to learn it there, you know. I think there might not be any right answer. I personally, I think I would focus on stuff other than new characters. I think I'd be looking at new maps, new gameplay types. Like, it seemed like that was really going to be a focus for them. And then playtesting or user groups or whatever sort of indicated that, like, let's just have cool new characters all the time. I'm not personally that excited by that.
It's pretty I wouldn't say alarming. It's just not what I expected. I think Jeff Kaplan said in a recent interview at BlizzCon that they have 6 heroes in their internal version of Overwatch. So, you know, of course they have their version that they test and play before anybody gets their hands on it. And if I remember the quote correctly, they have 6 of them like ready to go, and it's like, wow, okay. There's a bunch of features that I think really, really should be introduced to the game that the community seems to want, and you know, the focus seems to be heroes. I don't know. It's really interesting to see on the outside. Like, they want, and I'm all for this. At least be able to pick the kind of maps that you want to play, and if not in competitive in certain game modes, you know, hey, you know, we want to exclude like a map vote, you know, before the round starts or something. I thought that would be a great idea.
That seemed like a no-brainer, yeah.
Right, and there's a few things that the community has been posting about that's like that it's just like, wow, you know, why not implement that? And continuing hero balancing. I don't know. I think if I was developing that game and I had any serious say in it, I think I would put the brakes on new heroes for a little bit, get maps out there. Another thing the community brought up I thought was an excellent idea, and we all know Blizzard is very capable of it, is to create an awesome single-player experience for it and then charge it as like a DLC extra content so they can get more money and create new excitement for the game. I think that would be an awesome thing. That with a single-player element or maybe a co-op element like they did the Junkenstein thing, Halloween event. Yeah. I don't know if you messed with that. Have you messed with the PvE element to Overwatch in the special events?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
They're so fun. It's pretty cool. And I think, wow, you know, they could do really awesome things with a single player or co-op game. And why not charge people for it? You know, a $30, $40 expansion, I'd pay for it because you know it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I think players want to feel like they have mastered the game, and at least insofar as they know all the characters very well. They understand the dynamics between, you know, Torb versus Roadhog and stuff like that. So I think that's what leads me to think that all the constant introduction of new characters is maybe irritating to some people, because in some degree, like every new element, you kind of have to relearn the game. Yeah, I get it when I hear people say like that's frustrating. So new maps, meanwhile, like I get that it's a lot of work, but I can't imagine it's that much more work than a new character. You know,
I'm with you on that. I think it would be. I don't know. I don't know how it is to really work on a game of that nature, of course, but
no, I don't either.
It would definitely seem like it'd be easier to make a map than a hero. Not that either of those tasks are necessarily easy. It's just that the one does seem easier than the other.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's Overwatch.
But we know Blizzard can't win. Have you heard about this Diablo stuff?
I was going to ask you about it because I saw like a snippet and then I never returned to read about it. So this is all I know. Fill me in if you can. Diablo, people got excited. Mobile, people got unexcited.
You've got the gist of it. So BlizzCon was going on and everybody's sitting around going, man, we haven't heard about Diablo yet. And the event is sort of winding down to a close. And somebody steps up and goes, Diablo 4 is, and everybody kind of like, yay! And he's like, in the works. It's in the works. We're not ready to talk about it.
But here we are talking about it.
But what we do have is this mobile game for you guys, and one article I read described it as the crowd just got quiet and awkward until the end of the event after that.
Oh, boy.
I like Diablo 3 a lot. I didn't really dig into it until they ported it to the Xbox One, and that'll sound funny to PC gamers, but the controller version is just so nice and so fun to play, and you're not just mashing the mouse and all this stuff. It's really convenient. I really like to play it, and I just went back to it the other night. I moved my Xbox from one room to another, so it was offline for a while. I had a huge update for Black Ops, so Black Ops was pretty much out for the night. 12, 13 gigs at least.
Oh, yeah.
So I went back and I was like, what do I have installed? And I happened to have Diablo 3 installed, so I started a new character. They're still doing like seasonal stuff, and you can do these special seasonal characters and things. It's still really fun to me. Like I've been through the story a couple times now. Like I know what's going on, but it's the kind of game you can just, as designed, you can just come back to it anytime, keep playing. There are new challenges, new quests and stuff. Diablo 4, like, yeah, I get it. I get the demand for Diablo 4. Diablo games are made to last for a long time. From the very beginning, Diablo 1, Diablo 2, these games are well spaced apart. They're built to last, and a mobile game's a mobile game. Like, if I could play some Diablo on my iPhone, great. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I'm hearing that.
That's an extremely unpopular opinion. Everyone else is full rage mode. So,
yeah, I saw somebody, I can't remember who it was, post something to the effect of, I wish devs would realize that we don't consider our phone a serious gaming platform. And I'm thinking, man, I used to play a Game Boy and a Game Gear. If you handed me something like a phone with a touchscreen on it, I would have been ecstatic.
That's
so
true.
I don't see the problem. I mean, it's a phone. It's not a gaming device. It's not necessarily marketed as such, but at the same time, I don't know. I ain't got a problem considering it something that you could make a game and want people to take it seriously on a phone. It's a fantastic device.
I think somewhere in people's heads they make it up that if Blizzard would just put these mobile developers on the Diablo 4 team, Diablo 4 would have been ready by now, and that's not necessarily the case. That may or may not be at all true. They probably hired that team special for this purpose, or reassigned people who are already working on mobile stuff. Like, these are separate skill sets to some degree. Now, if it's all on the same engine, that's one thing, but these are teams that are focused on different specialty areas, and it's not... I don't think the existence of this mobile game stole Diablo 4 from anybody or booted it way back into next year. I think there was room for both of these things to be happening at the same time, and a lot of these people are going to play it. They're gonna, you can either play Diablo at Subway or you don't have to.
And yeah, I'm hearing that out loud. I would imagine that Blizzard wouldn't do anything to just purposely push back the release of something, so anticipated.
Yeah,
I just don't imagine them doing that. It just doesn't seem like something they would do, So I'm not buying that perspective that it's taken away from that. If it is, I'll have to take my words back. But I don't know. I'm with you on that. I don't see them doing that to compromise the main project. They always seem to be very focused on, getting the major things finished and created and out and polished.
Right. Yeah, they are a group that they're the kind of team that's like, it'll be done when it's done. As a result, ideally, things are supposed to work better. That has usually been the case, and they're not immune to launch day issues any more than anyone else, but they've got a pretty good track record of putting out very good games. So,
yep.
let's let's let them do their thing. It sounded like they're saying now that there are rumors that they fully intended to announce Diablo 4 and something happened at the last minute and they pulled that announcement, and we're talking like day of. So that usually means there was something wrong, there's a technical challenge or something's going on. So there's some good reason they're not whipping that out today. The good news is that they are working on it. I don't, people just seem like they wanted it like right now today. And I get, like I said, I get it, but it doesn't always work that way.
No, and who knows, with rumors like that. Now, I'm going to ask you this, and it's a little bit of a side deal, but it's slightly Diablo related. Have you messed with, seen, or known anybody that's farting around with that? I believe the game's called Path of Exile. It's free to play on Steam. It's very Diablo-esque.
Yeah. Path of Exile, I have not played personally. A funny thing is that I was working on a prototype for a game at one time, and I stumbled across that name myself, like as a potential name for my project, and Googled that name, and I was like, oh, it's so perfect, and I got like really attached to it and found out it's an existing thing that's been around for some time. So that was very frustrating, but I haven't played the game. I know that it is supposed to be sort of a Diablo competitor, and a lot of people really do like it. I've got friends on Twitter who post about it all the time, and some people were mad at Blizzard, and they were like, oh, well, as soon as I heard about this, I re-downloaded that, and okay, fine. Yeah.
That's what I was curious, just kind of what that was doing. I figured, that might satisfy people's cravings for it, but how long has that game been sitting out there? It's 4 or 5 years old, actually, isn't it?
I think it's several years old, and Diablo is now too. So
Okay.
they've both been around. I would check out Path of Exile for sure. Yeah, I know they're still working hard on that game.
If I had more time, if I wasn't a dad and wasn't playing Call of Duty, Black Ops, and Red Dead Redemption, I would probably give it a spin.
Well, that's as good a time as any. Let's talk about that. You've gotten off Overwatch, like we said. I have not jumped on Red Dead Redemption. I can't put my finger on why. The release time was coming, like I knew exactly what was going on. I don't know if they just like left us out in the cold for too long. Like I could not get excited about it. And I'm the only person I know where that's the case. Everyone else I know was like taking time off work, buying new consoles and stuff, and I was like, I'll get around to it. I am playing Black Ops, though.
I was the guy that had to go get a console for it. I got a great deal on a refurbished Xbox One S, though, on eBay.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, God, man, I was so happy I found it. I got a great deal, and so I scooped it up immediately. I didn't take any time off work to play it. I kind of just let myself ease into it when I had the time.
Yeah.
The only thing that I will say is to warn you is that the first 4 or 5 hours of that game, I know that sounds intense. Maybe I'm exaggerating because it was so freaking boring. But the intro to that game, I was very concerned. I was very concerned when playing that because I was like, wow, I really hope that they didn't try to like basically make an interactive movie, like a Telltale kind of a game,
Yeah.
out of this. And I figured, that's probably not what's happening. But boy, right now, I had to force myself through the first 4 or 5 sessions I had to force myself to make time to play it because I was like, you know what? I got this console, I got this game, I got to play this.
Yeah.
And I got the console for it.
Right.
So I have to sit down and play it. And then all of a sudden, when the world opens up, I'm going to go out here and say this. Currently, right now, it is my favorite game that I've played in recent memory. And yes, I'm ranking it over any of the other Rockstars I've played recently. And, that would really just be GTA 5. But, and then the previous Red Dead, I didn't play all of the Rockstar games. But anyways, this game is really good. And I don't know if it's well, I do know. It's not so much that I just love the Wild West element of it. And just the story is fairly compelling, and it's the narrative's cool. It's the way they do it is really cool. But the reason I really love this game, and I want to say it's one of my favorite games that I've played, and we'll see how I feel at the end of it if it crushed my soul like the first Red Dead did. But is that I don't remember a game so committed to itself, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so committed to what it is, that it's like, okay, I can start to respect some of the elements that kind of pull you back and make the pacing slower, and makes you feel it out. Like, you gotta, when you set off to do a journey, you're like, boy, it's gonna take me a little while to get over there on this horse, and I kind of like that. It's just really grabbed on to what it was supposed to be and held tight, and it did it in a way that's very tasteful. Like I said, man, I can't wait for you to try it and get your opinion about it. I mean, it's just so immense. There's so much to do. I don't see myself doing multiple playthroughs, though. I see people gearing themselves up for that. I've seen some people talking about how they burned through the story, and then they're going to do the 100% completion playthrough next. And I'm not into that. I don't think this is a game I'm going to play but once all the way through. I don't see that. This is just so big, and there's so much there, that I think this is going to play through it once, enjoy it, and then put it away for the rest of its life.
Yeah, I have seen people on Twitter already talk about how they beat it right away. I heard that you probably can't beat it in under 60 hours, so I got to give it up for people who have committed themselves to playing that quickly, Spider-Man that quickly. These games, it takes me a while to get through a game these days, and this is stuff we've talked about as well, but I loved the first RDR so much, and it's just, I think it's been the time. It's been so long in my head, like we were never going to see another one, and now it's back, and now I've got these abandonment issues to work through. But it is fun seeing the clips and the glitches and all the stuff that people are posting about the game. Like it seems like it's definitely a return to form from the looks of it.
Yeah, you're going to really like it. If you talking about how much you love the first one, you're going to really enjoy this. So far, the Arthur Morgan character is just fantastic. And, we kind of know how it's going to end, so I'm really interested to see what they do with it to kind of try to make it at least somewhat surprised, because I think it was interesting that they did the prequel. But, I mean, what else were they going to do, honestly? Because the first Red Dead was basically telling you, hey, this is the beginning of the end of these cowboy era type of a thing, and so going back. So I'm really interested to see what the story does. But man, I tell you what, this is like take your experience in Red Dead and then multiply it by like 4. I don't know. I'm really thinking hard here. Out of all the nights I've played this game, I don't know if I've done the same thing twice yet.
Oh boy.
Which is like, I don't know the last time I played a game like that. Maybe I may not have ever played a game like that ever. The side quests are almost better than the main story. And I'm not going to tell you anything. You need to experience it all. But I seriously don't think I've done the same thing twice.
Man, yet. That is impressive. It's clear they've made another masterpiece, I would say. I think a lot of people agree with that already.
It's their best. I really think, and that's saying a lot. I think it's their best, though. I really do.
I think I was the first person to alert you to the controversy of the feminist lady in the game, who
I ran into that character, by the way, last week before the whole thing started about it. I didn't punch her, for the record.
Thank you. For those not familiar, I laugh, but it's like a disappointed laugh. I'm disappointed that we have to talk about this. There is a lady in the game, for those unaware, who you come across her, and she's carrying on about women's rights and things of this nature that the character is passionate about. Well, what players discovered through their experimentation is that this woman can be attacked and carried off and tied to a train track or fed to a crocodile or whatever manner of other things. So that was very upsetting to a lot of people on Twitter because a lot of NPCs cannot be attacked in that way. Their example was kids and animals can't be attacked in the same way that this character can be attacked. And I don't know. You'd have to tell me if that's off base or not.
The kids know, but one of the primary features, I should say, of the game is killing and skinning a thing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So, I recall that from the first one. That's true.
They might be talking about the dogs in town, maybe, but like one thing I was very surprised about, and I think that article or brief post about the feminists brought it up, is that you can't really interact with the prostitutes in this game, which is different than any other Rockstar experience that you can ever have.
Yeah,
and I kind of respected that position that they had. And I think that maybe was the thing that really set people off, is that you can punch the women's suffrage lady in the face, but you couldn't do these other things with the female characters that you could normally do. So you know what? I'm going to just say this. I don't think they thought about it as hard as anyone else is thinking about it. I think it's a character that you can punch, just like most. I would say 95% of things you can punch in this game. You can punch your own horse, for crying out loud.
Which I've seen,
95% of the things in this game you can punch, minus the kid and Jack, and I don't know. I can't even really think of anything else. But yeah, you can punch your own horse, for crying out loud. I don't know if they thought this hard, like, you know what, this is great. We're going to put in this women's suffrage thing, and we're going to give you the option to just deck her. Because I can't tell you how many times I've been running around through town and accidentally punched something or ran into something, and then they get mad and I start a gunfight, or I get the cops on me, or, and it's just this is the nature of the game. And I think this is just an NPC that is in there. I think it would be even weirder if you couldn't do anything to her, because then it would be, well, then wait a minute, I don't know.
Yeah, there are two directions this can go from here, and then there's sort of a philosophical element that we can talk about, but I think we're either going to hear from Rockstar and they're going to go, we sincerely didn't even think about this. Like, we didn't realize she was attackable. I think we're going to hear that it's a property on characters in the code that, can be attacked. It's a flag that's either true or false, and by default, most everyone is attackable, and so she was, and they never turned hers off, and they meant to, something like that. The kids have the property turned off, so you can't attack the kids. I think we're going to hear something like that. However, I think there's probably also room to bring up the fact that a lot of people in the same special cause group got really mad at Rockstar about the way they spend their profits and the way they treat their workers and all this stuff. Now, some of it was after this game was already released, so that timeline doesn't entirely match up, but like, this group and the studio have kind of been at odds in the past. Like, it's always been a little bit of a back and forth, and maybe somebody somewhere up the chain did decide, this is our little message. Just flip the switch and let her be attacked. I think that's probably a stretch, but I know people are going to say that. You know for sure people are going to accuse them of that.
I'm going with the former. I'm with you on that. I kind of hinted at it, and then you correctly stated it. It's either you can or you can't, and this was a case where they didn't even think about it, because there's another mission where you actually help these people, and yeah, I mean, and there's an interesting dialogue in it. I'll go ahead and talk about it briefly, because so far it's not a pivotal moment in the story, but there's a little mission you do where you help the women's suffrage cause, and your guy Arthur Morgan makes his point of view very known about, well, I don't see there being a problem with it, and he just kind of leaves it at that. I really like the way they've designed this character, because they put these social situations in there, and the way he handles it is like the way I see 90% of the people I know in life, where it's just like, all right, do you? And then, that's what this guy's like. He's like, yeah, I'll help you out. You guys seem okay, but at the end of it, he goes, I don't see there being a problem. Sure, have the right to vote. I'm into that. And then he moves on, and he goes back to being a criminal.
Goes back and does his thing, yeah. And so I showed you a screenshot of somebody who went well, if this woman can be attacked, I want the children to be able to be attacked. And it was like, it made you scratch your head like, where the hell did you come up with this idea? But like, I get that the person was trying to be controversial for the sake of making a point. And it does bring up the question, like, where's the line that you draw in a project of your own and say who can be attacked and who can't be attacked when you're going for realism, ultimately. You're trying to create an open world where you can do almost anything. So, I mean, I guess, where would you say you come down on that? Like, do you think it should just be, no NPCs, all NPCs? I mean, what do you do?
Well, and then okay, so you're talking about making Fallout 76?
Yeah, I
you
guess.
said no NPCs, so I would I don't know. If this was my game, I would leave her punchable and just leave it at that. And I honestly wouldn't even issue a statement about this, frankly. Yeah. I wouldn't issue anything about this. It just is what it is. And
maybe they won't.
I wouldn't. I'd let it go. I think if you issue a statement about this, you add way more validity to the situation than needs to be. It's a game. This is such a small component to the game. Okay, if I was in a special interest group that was concerned about this and this was an ongoing theme, like, okay, he's constantly beating up women and he's constantly beating up the he's not fighting the prostitutes or the criminal ladies in the game. He's always going after this women's suffrage group. They've come up twice so far in my experience. Her, by the way, I donated money to her cause in the game, just letting people know that. They said my name would be on the founder stone or something like that. But I generally play the game as about as good guy as you can, by the way. But anyways, it's like it's come up twice, and they've had the opportunity to really make a statement about it, and they haven't. It's just kind of, yeah. Like I told you, he's just like, okay, yeah, I think you should vote. Makes sense to me. You're people too, and moves on. And I think they put it in there because that was an issue going on at the time, and it just kind of sets the tone. There's a lot of things in the game like that are just, there's the post-slavery element to it too, and there's an interesting dynamic about that. There's a town that's incredibly racist, and there's a little interesting side tangents on with that. I think this is just one of those things in the game that was just there to kind of add like in a historical context to what's going on. And I don't think any more should be thought of it than that.
I thought about the same question I just asked you, and I came up with an answer that I personally love. I haven't had to deal with this in any of my own projects because I haven't done any open world stuff. I haven't done anything with a giant cast of characters. However, I think the right approach to this is the exact same code that the Predator lives by, which is basically anybody who has a weapon or is battle capable is fair game. And then, the elderly and the children and the pregnant women and things like that, you just pass them on and you go after your trophy person who is a combatant of some kind. And it's funny, but like I think I really would take that approach. Anybody who may whip out a gun and shoot at me, like that person's fair game.
I like that. It makes sense to me. Yeah. So that's where it is. I'll be surprised if Rockstar says or does anything about this. Like I just said a few minutes ago, I wouldn't. If this was my game, I personally wouldn't. This is a flash in the pan. People that are going to be outraged are going to immediately be outraged by something else in the next 36 hours at the most. So they'll move on past it and call it that. It's not going to hurt sales. It's not going to make people not play the game. I've not seen anyone I know mention it or seem to care about it. So if I were them, I wouldn't even mess with it because I could be wrong. They might issue a statement about it, but to me, if you issue a statement about it, then you're almost admitting guilt. You know what I mean? You're almost just don't even touch it. Now, if it becomes a huge firestorm and you got a bunch of people signing a petition and they're trying to get you removed from stores and they kind of force your hand on the situation, I think your explanation of it from a design perspective is probably what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just a true or false statement. You can hit this person or you can't. That person just fit into that category because they were standing on a street corner, just like the drunk guy that tried to rob somebody. He's standing on that same street corner. Well, not the literal same, but you get what I'm saying. He's in a similar environment or setting as any of the other NPCs, and you can kill that guy. So I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it just is what it is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch from a business standpoint because, like you said, if they acknowledge it happened, they will be expected to answer the question, what happened? How did it happen? And I don't know that they're going to put themselves through that. So I think you may be right. So speaking of tricky choices, have you heard about Rainbow Six being in the news?
No.
Rainbow Six Siege has been altered by Ubisoft to, the way Reddit puts it, cater to the Chinese government. Basically, if they wanted to have the game playable in that region, they were required to make a bunch of changes to like maps and icons and just all kinds of stuff. Like China has very specific, some would say inconsistent rules with what can be included in a game, or it probably spills over into other forms of media as well, I'm sure. But it's always been fascinating to me, the game industry trying to include Chinese players, but either catering or not catering to this sort of censorship. I would say check it out. This article was at PC Gamer, and I think it was from like 8 hours ago. So this is all pretty fresh.
I haven't heard such a thing. Now, this is the businessman side of me coming into it, thinking about being the developer in this case. Why not? I mean, if you got to do some, I don't know. Okay, I haven't read the article. If you have, maybe you could answer some of these questions. But unless this stuff is extremely drastic, why not appeal to a giant demographic of humans to sell your product? I mean, it just kind of is a no-brainer. If you just got to change a few things and call it that, and then you open up to a whole nother market. Yeah. Now, if it's drastic, I would say maybe you could get up in arms about it. But again, like, I haven't read the article, so I mean, what's your take on it? Are they doing dramatic things to it, or are they just kind of appeasing a few set of rules and just to get it into a new market?
So apparently, and I had to read up on this a little bit, but apparently this is pretty common for studios to have two different versions of games. So they'll release a game that's basically, we'll never see the version, and it'll just be whatever they want to see. Whatever censorship, whatever changes, whatever. And I mean, that's not so uncommon throughout history. Different groups have done this, and you know, you're making a game for Disney and they don't want certain things in their game. Like, developers have to do this sometimes. I get the groups that are saying this is censorship, this is, you know, you're pandering to this oppressive whatever. I think that's maybe a little naive. I think maybe they're just being exposed to it for, if not the first time. Like, it's very unusual that they see this stuff, because usually there are those two different versions. What Ubisoft wants to do is have the same game playable everywhere. So that's why we're sort of getting a eye full of this. And they put out release notes. They explained that they're going to make some changes, and I don't know if they linked it directly to that in the notes, but people figured it out right away. So
okay,
I think I largely agree with you. Like, if you can have players play your game in China or anywhere else, you probably want to. I have a game that is not allowed in China. I learned. I had no idea, but I looked at iTunes Connect for letter taps, and it explains all the pricing information around the world, which you can make changes to and stuff like that. And I have a short list of countries my game is banned in. And I know there are some games you can play in China, and I don't know if it's because mine teaches basically the English alphabet or what it is, but I'm almost positive no human was on the other side of that decision and went like, screw this guy. Like, we're not. Don't bring your letters and number game for kids into this country. I think it was probably just an automated policy that went, no, you can't do this. But I've got a game banned in a couple of countries, and I don't know. You know, if I knew of something I could do to get that available to kids over there, I'd probably do it.
Yeah, I actually have I have a decent guess on why your game would probably be banned in other countries.
Let's hear
I
it.
bet you they put a blank, just like you said, a computer did it, and I bet you they put a blanket ban on educational material from any other country. I bet that's what it is
I
because
think that's a safe bet.
to me it seems like China would do something when it's mostly communist regime would do something like, well, we don't want you to be indoctrinated through any other viewpoints. And I bet you
Right.
that just anything educational from a different country is just shut down.
I think, yeah, I think largely their strategy is I'm sure they would call it something like curate what they bring in.
Yeah.
And mostly it's just block everything out. Did you you see the thing I posted on my page about how they're trying to put artificial moons into space?
Yes.
and,
That's
and I,
weird. You weren't the only person that put that up, so it was like, whoa.
but I was probably the only person to joke that it was just a spotlight they were going to use to make sure no one's using Facebook.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't have a lot of patience for stuff like that. It's like, let your people do what they want to do. I'm sure I'm not exactly a revolutionary for saying that, but it's frustrating to watch. And yeah, I'm sure if I had like a bigger, more successful game and I was actively dealing with like, how can we bring this to your citizens, and they were giving me hell about it, yeah, I'd be frustrated. Absolutely.
Exactly. And then people trying to come at Ubisoft on that, like I said earlier, from the businessman perspective in me, why wouldn't you want to tap into China? It's an enormous market.
Oh yeah.
So go get that. Go get that money. And
I know they're on Clash Royale. That's about all I can tell you.
they probably play PlayerUnknown Battleground, I bet.
I think I've heard that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they do. They do because that's a controversy in the community is with the Asian servers. But yeah, that's. I'm sorry. I've all of a sudden taken myself into an emotional PTSD with PUBG because I wanted to like that game. You know that I've been there too many times. We talked about it so many times. I wanted to like that game so bad. But anyways.
Well, and this is a fine point to bring up. You said you did like the Blackout version of Black Ops, which is basically their version of the same thing.
It's what Bluehole needed to do with PlayerUnknown, and I'm honestly surprised that game still has people playing it.
Yeah.
If anyone has seen or played Black Ops, and you know what? Now that we're talking about China. I'm wondering if Black Ops is not playable in China, or there is a different version. I don't know. So you know what? That might be why. Because, I mean, the Blackout is just, it's the way that needed to be. I know the BR thing is just ridden to death. I don't really care to play any other BR game. Lately, I've been playing a lot more of the multiplayer on COD, but the Blackout is just really good BR. It's super fun. There's a few things on there, going on a little tangent real quick. There's a few things I'd like to see on there. They need to make more sniper and tactical rifles spawn, because the long game, like if you get a guy that gets a care package and he has level 3 armor and he gets the rifle, he pretty much wins the game, it seems. Yeah. And it's just they need something. I always have an AR with no scope and iron sights, and I'm stuck in a long battle with the guy, and it's like, okay, but if you get that sniper rifle, it's huge. But yeah, other than that, man, that mode is fantastic, but man, the multiplayer on that has just got its talons in me right now. I'm having a blast.
Well, I can tell you, coming from Fortnite over to Black Ops Blackout is, people joke like Fortnite is for babies and stuff. Like, I felt it. I felt that transition because right away, Blackout is like a much more unforgiving scoring system. It is not impressed that you survived to the upper half.
Not at all.
If you didn't kill anybody, like you wasted 20 minutes. And I was interested in that. I've played, I don't know, probably 10 rounds now. I'm with you. I'm having a lot more fun in the just standard multiplayer lobbies, and I've played that with some friends now, and we've had a couple of good nights. I think that leveling system is a lot more consistent with what Call of Duty normally is. The other modes, they've been called a grind, and they're kind of grindy. It's hard to impress that game when you're not doing like standard domination or kill confirm, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Now in this recent update, I am kind of unhappy with how they've had it set up to where you can't do like that mosh pit with a party anymore. That really disappointed me. You know, where alternates between like team deathmatch and kill confirm team, and now you have to do it solo. I don't understand why they did that. I'm really confused by that, because I was trying to group up with people the other day, and I'm like, why can't we play mosh pit? That was one of our favorite modes, was that one that goes like from team deathmatch to kill confirmed. And now you have to be in a single party. That's like...
Ideally, you want both. You want a version you can play with parties, and then you want to... I really appreciate, as someone who doesn't always get to play with friends, my friends are pretty consistent because not all of them are parents yet, so they can always get on at the same time. And like sometimes my little one will stay up till 10:30 when he's got school the next morning, which is insane for a 3-year-old. He's partying like a college student. But I'll bring my sorry ass down here at 11:30, and like I can play 2 or 3 rounds, and I'll just be tired tomorrow, and that's fine. I appreciate a solo playlist that I can jump into and not be just super taken advantage of by a team that calls themselves a clan and has tryouts and that kind of thing. I don't want to deal with that. So
I'm with you on that. But yeah, to have the party element back to some of those game modes would be nice too, though. I like what you said. It'd be ideal to have both modes on that. But yeah, no, I'm actually digging it, man. I really am having a lot of fun with COD. It's been forever since I've played a Call of Duty game, and this one is just seeming really fun to me. It's probably partially because I haven't played one in forever, and it's probably also because it's actually fun. I know people that have been playing COD for a while and said, yeah, I'm having fun. Just don't watch Dr. Disrespect stream. I think he broke his mouse the other day playing it.
That guy.
Which is very comical. He's interesting. I don't watch a lot of streamers, but for some reason I tune into him every now and then. Him and CDN the third. I don't know if you know who that is.
I do not.
Oh, that guy is just... I only watch him for the comedic element to it. I mean, he totally seems like a person that we went to high school with, and it's incredible. He was on there was a show, gosh darn it, I know you watched it, and I know I watched it, and I can't remember what it was called, and I can see it though, where they had like a group of gamers. It was very brief on TV, and they had a group of gamers. It was almost like a Fear Factor vibe. And he was actually on that TV show way back in the day, and then nothing ever happened with him, and then he slowly worked his way up through that. But anyways, there's the story of some guy that you've never heard of that you probably don't care about.
That's still a heartwarming tale. I like to hear about stuff like that.
But he gets on that. He gets on COD too, and it's pretty funny. He's a really big. You mentioned Fortnite. He's really big into that, and watching him play that, it made me a little bit better at that game. I haven't really invested that much time in it though. I just prefer COD. I like the style of it. I don't knock Fortnite by any means. I think it's kind of cool. I respect Epic for really, again, like I said, what I liked about Red Dead is they owned what they were, and I think that they did that same thing with their BR game. They didn't try to conform and make their BR game the other BR games, they stuck to what they do, and they're like, hey, crafting and building things is an element in this game.
Yeah.
And stuck to it, and it's pretty neat. Now I can't build worth of crap like that, even when I program my mouse to do the hotkeys. Those guys can build skyscrapers in 30 seconds, and I'm on the ground trying to figure out if I reloaded my gun or not, and then I'm dead.
I've said this before. I think it's a lot easier to play with a controller. So if you're playing on the Xbox, I think you can probably survive a little better. I wanted to. Like, I paid for the season or whatever when it changed last, and I went, okay, I'll make sure I play enough to keep buying the next thing without spending more money, and then that'll be my Fortnite fix. And I quickly found that I didn't want to do it that much.
I did the exact same thing. It's funny you mentioned that. I did the exact same thing.
Right. I'm not sorry that I threw him $10, but I probably won't do it again. So.
No, I'm 100% with you on that. They did that's a good game. It's a good game. Good for them. $10 is a drop in the bucket for how much fun I had with it when we were playing it more. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna. Now on a different note, have you heard anything about the other part of that game going free to play? I'm really interested in playing the PvE element of that, and it was supposed to go free to play, I thought, this year.
I'm hearing sort of confusing cross chatter about that. I know it's come up, and I'm not sure where they came down on that.
I would think that would be a really, really good idea for them to do. Kind of draw in some more, but I mean, at the same time, I can't blame them. Honestly, I'm surprised that's even hanging on, because it's just like that BR took the world by storm.
Yeah, I have no doubt they've they've well paid for their own time and their own investments in this. So if you can apply the same model to the other half of the game, it's probably wise. I've never played it, and if there's a pay-to-play element to it, I probably never will.
No, I'm with you on that. I don't think I would buy that. But, I mean, that's how it started. And so I'm interested to see, they have to have some kind of core fan base there, because that's how the game started. And I'm interested to see, what are they doing there? Are they? I'm going to look that up after this. I'm really curious now. Have they abandoned that? I hope they don't abandon those people. I don't think they will, though. I don't think they will. That would be a very, very terrible idea.
Yeah. Well, time has flown. I want to fit one more thing in. Tell me if you are as excited as I am about the PlayStation Classic. It kind of depends on if this was something that you grew up with or not.
I wouldn't mind playing some Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal, yeah, Twisted Metal's in there for sure. I think it's a pretty good list. There are things missing. For me, it was Jet Moto. I would have loved to see Jet Moto on the list. I know everyone else is worried about Crash Bandicoot.
Bunch of people I know are just all over the Crash Bandicoot.
I get that. I understand. It's not a deal breaker for me. I think the list they put together was better than I would have expected. There's a classic Tekken in there. There is Metal Gear Solid, which I wouldn't have guessed. I wouldn't have guessed they've got Final Fantasy VII in there. Grand Theft Auto, the first one.
Resident Evil's Director's Cut. That was a good game.
People love that. Yeah, I didn't play that one too much. The first Rainbow Six. What else?
Rayman is on there.
Siphon Filter, that's cool.
I'm looking it up. I didn't actually look at the full game list, so when you're bringing this up, it made me want to go grab it.
Right.
Pull this. Destruction Derby. I'd be all over that too. That was a good one. That was a really good one.
And it's already less than a month away. It launches on December 3rd. I don't think it will be a pre-order thing for me, so if they're sold out on the first day, well, that'll be fine. I'll get one later, or I won't. But I really wouldn't mind having one of these. It's a pretty cool thing that they're doing. I haven't looked specifically at, it looks like it just uses regular controllers. So, sometimes little technical details make these things viable or not.
I'll probably pass on this, but I'll come play yours because... I'm looking through this and nostalgia is kicking in. Rainbow Six, man, is where I cut some serious teeth.
Yeah.
On hardcore first person shooters, man. So, and then Cool Borders. Yeah, this is a good list, man. This is a good list. I'm into this.
A lot of people will overlook this one, but Intelligent Cube was on the demo disc a lot of people played back in the actual day when they were first cranking these things out. A lot of people who bought the PlayStation, and some didn't even have any games yet, got that disc and you could play a few levels of Intelligent Cube, and like that is going to hit the spot. If I can do, like, some of these are just like, oh my god, I never thought I'd play these again. So happy to do it. And
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe
mess with that.
maybe you get something like this and a week later you don't care anymore. I don't know, but it seems like something that'd be awesome to have.
I mean, that's a good list, man. If I was going to put something together like that, I don't know if I would change much about that.
See, that's what I said. Like, more than half the list, I would not touch, and
No?
that's pretty high. That's a high ratio.
It is, man. It is. It kind
Yeah.
of makes me want to play that first Resident Evil again.
The NES Classic and the SNES Classic, like, I would have changed big, huge portions of those lists. I think this one's probably the closest to what I'd like to see. And people don't like this thing. People like, people are looking at this list like, nope, it's a deal breaker. It doesn't have X, whatever X is. Like we said, usually Crash.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good list to me. So I'm into it. That's like that. When I see that list, I definitely think of the PlayStation days.
Yes. So I think it's mission accomplished for them, and I'm looking forward to it.
It's awesome. Yeah, let me know how that is when you get one.
Yeah, so I am calling this a successful return for the fun news bullshit portion of the show. There's something caught my eye on Twitter. A lot of people are starting to do little fan game projects. Like, I saw somebody doing like a little cutesy version of Master Chief running around so they could make their own Halo. Somebody's got a Star Fox going. Somebody made a fantastic Metroid adaptation in Unity. Like, people are doing some really cool stuff, and it's kind of got me. I kind of have that itch to try one of those of my own. Like, we put together a super good start for something like a Super Monkey Ball, something like
Yes.
that. There might have to be a little bit of a creative project there. So just
Cool.
sort of teasing a seed of something.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, man, that's cool.
So yeah, I'm hoping you'll be back with more fun news and silliness, and I'm working on some creative and informative things. I don't want to use the word educational, but I do want to use the word informative.
There you go.
I want to make this worth people's time. So I think we're doing that, and I think we're having a good time along the way. So thanks for taking the time. Everybody subscribe to the Game Dev Breakdown podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere you can find it. It's pretty much everywhere. And keep leaving us those beautiful 5-star ratings, which we appreciate so much. We're officially 5 stars on iTunes, and the numbers shot up immediately. It's so stupid how that works, but like, they will not show you to anyone else. They will not send any traffic your way unless you've got that staunch 5-star standard. But we've got it now, which is all thanks to you guys. We really appreciate that. So stick with us, get in touch, let us know how to make this the show you want to hear, and we will be back with more on Monday.